Hey guys, Yoda here. This is gonna be a VOD review of a 22 hauls I did on stream recently. Is a 22 bursting Grievous Tyrannical, one of the hardest affix combinations in the game, and this was the world first 22. Most of the time in this video, we're gonna be talking about how to set pulls up with Rogue and keep them clean. Not so much about my damage, but as a Rogue, keeping yourself safe and your team safe is one of your main objectives and a key. Okay, so we start off. We're going to start with a Shroud here. This Shroud is useful for the tank to get past the first two mobs without popping defensives. We don't need Shroud for 6 minutes, so it's free to use. You just Shroud like this. Your tank walks through and then pulls him from behind, so he never gets meleeed. We're going to run in and dot. You notice I set this mob to focus here, and then kicked it first. It's kind of slowed, so it's really slow to get in. And then I really wanted to get my kidney off before my burst, so I just kidney it outside. This is not ideal, you don't want it outside. But I fix it afterward with blind into kick. Okay, blind into kick, and then it comes in. So ideally, you don't want to kidney it out there. Ideally, it's not slowed, and then you just kidney it when it gets here, and you don't have to do all that crap out there. But better than just leaving it out here, right? So it gets grouped in. Now all the mobs are stacked up. Your job is done. You've used your kidney, use your kick twice, and yeah. I do end up dying here in this pull because of some thundering mishaps and this troll Dathia trinket making me not see a storm nearby. Yeah, I cheat to the breath. Then he spawns crackling storm right here, and I just like not paying attention. I died to it. Okay, anyway. But I did a good job setting up the pull, so it's all clean, and my team's able to finish it off after a B-res. Okay, here we hold DPS a bit for bursting. Obviously keep that in mind, even though not every week's gonna be bursting. So we get to Heimdall. Heimdall is pretty simple for DPS, and honestly pretty simple for everyone else. The only thing you have to look out for is Horn of Valor and Dancing Blades. Okay, so we get to the boss. We'll just play the first bit so you can see what we do. Dancing Blades, just dodge forehead. Ideally your range is baiting it away. Then he casts Horn of Valor. This hits the whole raid, or the whole party. Gets us low a bit, and then see how, like, after he casts Horn, these dragons are gonna spawn on the side, and I'm just like spam panning my camera trying to find the dragon. So the best strat I found is you find where the dragon is first, then you go like right next to it, and then you move in. But some tanks aren't gonna do that. They're gonna keep the boss here if they see a far one. So I think that's what we did up doing here. So we see it's a far dragon. And then I have to pan my camera again, and we see this is the middle dragon, right? So we're gonna wait next to the middle for the second one. You see the breath go off, dodge a little bit, and then go straight in. Gotta be quick because the third breath is coming right there. Basically, you just wanna stand next to a breath that's about to go off, and then just walk into it. Okay, the rest of the boss is pretty simple. Just dodge and do that mechanic over and over again. And it's a single target burn. So we're gonna skip. Alright, so we get to the next pull. Here. We do this pull like in a super safe way. You don't have to go like this safe. We pull this mob, kill the caster, and chain. I think you're perfectly fine in most groups to just pull this and chain it up. We do this Omega safe. For these mystics, you want to stop Holy Radiance and Rune of Healing. Rune of Healing is not a super big deal, but Holy Radiance is really a big deal. So kill the caster and chain. These two mobs just hit the tank, so you don't have to worry about them. Maybe to this Thundercaller. There's a Thundercaller and a Rune Carver in here. Basically just one person stop the Rune Carver, everyone else kick the Thundercaller. The way we pull this is super simple. So basically you don't need to be a rogue to do this. You can just, kick off cooldown on Thundercaller and go back to doing your damage. Okay, I'm gonna fast forward because the way we do this is actually way too simple. For these packs, just kick off cooldown. Watch the frontals from the Shield Maiden, but that's pretty much it. Maybe you could have some kind of kick rotation on the Mystic. And also, you should be ready to use Vanish Cheap Shot or Blind or Kidney on the Rune Carver in case Etch is going unanswered. You can also Vanish for Etch if it's on you. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this pull. Onward. Let me see what we pull here. Oh, we just keep chaining. We pull one Mystic here. Okay, this is actually a real pull. So I'm responsible for a circle here. Basically, they said Yoda gets circle, everyone else get the Thundercaller. So the best way to deal with this Mystic, it has two casts, right? Rune of Healing and Holy Radiance. So both of those, they fixed Rune of Healing so it won't recast anymore after it disrupts. So both of those you can either use your kick or you can use a stun or blind or whatever, right? But one important thing is that Holy Radiance is a much slower cast. So if you don't want to hold your global, you should be using your kick on Rune of Healing, and you use your disrupts like, you know, blind, stun, like I said, on Holy Radiance, because that way you won't have to hold your global. You can just finish your damage global and then stop it, instead of like having to hold it to stop Rune of Healing. You can just use your kick to react to it. So you'll do it here. Rune of Healing's coming up, or Holy Radiance is coming up. I stun it, but you know, everyone else stuns it because whatever. Then we kick Rune of Healing. Then the next one I would have to... We noticed it's on stun DR, so the next one would go off, but I'd be calling for help here for my team. Basically, the only important thing is, if you want to stuff a Mystic, you want to use your kick on Rune of Healing and your other stuff on Holy Radiance, because Holy Radiance is a slower cast. That's pretty much it. Alright, so that's that pull. We distract the Pat there because we're going to fight here, around here, and we don't want that Pat to get closer. You can distract early, and then you get a second one while it's walking in if you want. This pull is pretty simple. There's only two casters, a Thundercaller and a Rune Carver. Yeah, we just had to assign one person to the Rune Carver, everyone else kick Thundercaller FCD. Simple enough. When you fight these Shield Maidens, you have to be really careful where the tank is, because they cast Mortal Hue, and that Mortal Hue is a frontal on where the tank is. So the tank usually is going to want to dodge it. Sometimes they just stand inside it because they don't know what's going on, but usually they're going to want to dodge it. Then you also want to dodge it too, as a melee. Obviously, if you get hit, you're probably dead. One thing here in this area, slow poison is really good. If you ran into this area running a trophic or numbing poison, you would want to swap coming up these stairs, because there's a bunch of shield maidens in these pulls, and a lot of times tanks will have to kite these, especially on fortified. And it's way easier to kite them with crippling poison. Okay, so that's that. The next pull has more maidens and one purifier. You just have to kick the purifier. And then there's, usually they're going to chain this 3-pull here. Yeah, so this is just a bunch of shield maidens, so it's frontals galore. And also this aspirant. This aspirant is going to jump away, and it's going to cast Blast of Light. Just dodge Blast of Light. Make sure you dodge this. This is a one-shot even on tanks. And that's pretty much it for this pull. Just keep the mob slowed, you know, keep doing your AV rotation. This is a really good pull for rogue damage-wise, by the way. So yeah, keep the mob slowed, keep doing your AV rotation, and just dodge all the frontals, including Blast of Light, especially Blast of Light. And you can kick the purifier off cooldown. So that's that pull, pretty simple. Other than that, after that we have the 2 mini bosses. So there's a way to fight these two together. I don't think we do it in the script. Let me see. Oh, we do it in the script. Okay. So the way you do it together is you pull the left one first, Solstin, and then to make sure the Eye of the Storm and the Sanctify are desynced, you pull the other one like 2 seconds into Eye of the Storm. We just go on Solstin, and then Eye of the Storm happens, and we pull Olmir. In like a decently leveled key, you're going to want to feint every Eye of the Storm. Feint Vial every Eye of the Storm. I don't think I vialed here, but I did use feint. It's way easier to do damage during Sanctify by sticking on Solstin. That's kind of the purpose of pulling both at the same time. So just do that. Also, you want Solstin to die ASAP, so you get as few Eye of the Storms as possible. Okay, so that's that. We get to Olmir. Pretty simple. Dodge and kill. Alright, so now we're on Hyrja. When you get to Hyrja, like right now while you're eating and waiting for the boss to spawn, you should ask your healer when they want you to cloak. If they give you like a real answer, like, oh, the third one, then you know when to cloak. If not, then just use it as like a, in case you're about to die. This boss, the only scary part really is Eye of the Storm. It's super scary on 22 though. Just remember, during every Eye of the Storm, you're going to want to use feint. And probably vial if it's up, so we feint. Am I not vialing here? Okay, yeah, feint vial every storm. If you're cloaking, this is actually kind of important. Do you notice? Hold on, I'm going to go back and play this. You notice at the end of the Eye of the Storm is the scariest part. So if you're cloaking, you want to cloak towards the end. Because you notice she does a little zap at the end after the eye. So you want to cloak like towards the end, like 5 or 6 seconds left on Eye of the Storm is when you cloak. You don't want to cloak too early. Otherwise you can still die even though you use cloak, which would be very tragic. After that, she goes to this phase. It's pretty simple. Just don't stack with the circle. Put on a Tropic Poison if you forgot, like me. And this, so the boss's hitbox is actually deceptively giant in there. Like, I can actually hit her from, like, right here. So try not to lose uptime. Obviously, don't die. But you should be able to hit this boss as a melee with full uptime. I don't think I had acrobatic strikes, but even acrobatic is even easier. Make sure you don't get hit by the frontal. Okay, and then just back to rinse and repeat. Yeah, back to rinse and repeat, and then just finish the boss. This boss, honestly, as a rogue, like, your job is pretty simple, right? Just use Feint at the right time, use Vial, don't cloak too early, and hope your healer's a baller. That's pretty much all you can do. Alright. Onward. Back to this pull. This is another pull with a Mystic, so you remember what we had to do with Mystic. There's not that many catches in here, so I kind of only have to kick. Shouldn't have to commit my kidney. Yeah, I just kick off CD. If you're assigned to solo a Mystic, basically if there's a Mystic and a Thundercaller in a pull, or 2 Mystics or something, then you would be soloing the Mystic. That's when you like save your kick for Rune and use your other stops on Holy Radiance. But this pull is only a Mystic and a Rune Carver, so you don't really need to do all that. You can just kick. I think I cheated here to snapshot. Just make sure you're far away from the marksman so that doesn't happen on pull. So basically all you can do. Okay, we move forward and we pull the dragon. This pull is kind of inefficient. It's just like one mob. One thing you can do with this guy is you can chain these stags in. Watch. We chain the stag in. We're at 166 count. He eats a stag, 167. It does give him a little buff over here, but it's one way to get count if you want. That's what we ended up doing with this route. It's not super efficient, but you know, the last 2 count in here is always weird, so that's what we did. On to Fenryr. So one important thing about Fenryr is in phase 1, he does a lot more claw frenzies than in phase 2. So phase 1 is actually a lot heavier of an HPS check. So you're going to want to feint when you think he's going to do claw frenzy soon. Another thing is his Ravenous Sleep does not always pick 3 people. It only picks 2. So you cannot guarantee that you're going to be able to vanish it. So basically, coming in here, I usually just tell people, oh, I'm probably not going to be able to vanish this. Don't worry about it. Don't expect it to happen. If you're a sub, especially, you want to save your vanish charges for phase 2, because in phase 2 you're guaranteed, and it also is more bleeds in phase 2. So phase 1, usually the standard is that you'd be expected to either just take the bleed or dodge it at range. And in phase 2, you would vanish it when it goes on you. Here, I just like walk away, take the bleed, and basically just call it a day. It does hurt like quite a bit, especially on 22 Tyrannical Grievous, but as long as I feint all of them, my healer should be able to keep up. Okay, so that's that. On to this part. So we pull 2 wolves with boss. This is pretty spicy. I generally wouldn't recommend doing that, but we kind of wanted the time, so we do it here. So for the very first sleep coming up, it only picks 3 non-tanks. So notice how there's 4, right? It's a healer and 3 DPS. If it's not on you, it can get really scuffed. So make sure your group is aware that it might not be on you. But if it is on, if it's on you, then just like scream. Oh, if it's not on you, just like scream. We have to play this, or like not dodging or whatever. But if it's on you, it's pretty simple. You just run out as a sub rogue. As a sub rogue, you run out. As an ally, you can just hook too. Yeah, I run out, and then the trick here is you wait for the cast to finish. I'm gonna play it again. You wait for the cast to finish, then while he's midair, you vanish. So the cast is at, notice how the cast is at 1.3 here. Cast at 0, he leaps, and then the vanish. Pretty simple, even an old boomer like me can do it. Anyone can do it as long as you're ready. And then the next one is guaranteed, right? So you know the first 2 jumps, you're gonna have to have no bleeds to deal with, which is like insane value for a healer. You can't even do this without a rogue, I think. Or like some Shadow Meld or something. Okay, so second jump is on me. Vanish, easy. For this Scent of Blood, if it picks you, you can just evasion too. That's where you would evasion. You wouldn't evasion with jump. So there's another trick here for the jump. We're gonna get picked again. So this time I was like, okay, hey guys, I have no vanish. Get ready to play this. So I'm gonna stand here. Notice how I'm not the furthest person. I'm actually quite close to the boss compared to everyone else. So that's gonna be important later. So you see his jumps. I know he picks the DH. He's gonna pick the Warlock, and then the Paladin, and then me. Or maybe it's a different order. Maybe it's the Paladin, then the Warlock, then me, or vice versa. I'm not sure. I'm gonna wait for him to jump twice. So one time, bang. He's on the Warlock, I think. One more on the Paladin, and now I know the next one is on me, right? And I'm as far away as possible from that guy. So I have as much time to react as possible. He's gonna jump on me next. And as soon as I see the jump, I shadow step the Warlock. So you can shadow step if he's already in the air. So notice that. I'm gonna play it again. So I walk away. I know the DH is the furthest, right? He's for sure jumping to the DH first, and I'm closer than the other two. He's gonna do DH, then one ally, then another ally, then me. So it's DH, one ally, then another ally. Now I know the next one is on me, so I'm already targeting the Warlock, you can see here. Waiting for him to jump toward where I am now. If you step too early, he'll follow you to the Warlock and probably kill the Warlock, right? So I'm gonna wait for him to already be in the air. As soon as I see he's in the air, that's when you shadow step. Bang. And you dodge the bleed. Okay, simple enough, right? Early. Actually, only our Paladin got hit here. The DH and the Warlock and me all dodged the bleed. That's crazy. So this boss, which is supposed to be like insane difficulty with massive bleeds into Claw Frenzy on Grievous, is actually doable. Like, imagine if all of us had this bleed that's on the Paladin, we would all be dead. Okay, simple enough. Now we have slow poison, hopefully. Okay, if I didn't have slow poison, I should have had slow poison here for the bears, because the tanks, almost every tank is going to have to kite these bears eventually. It's simple enough to actually do the pack. You just run around dotting. Try not to be in front. I've seen these bears do some funky stuff where like the tank has thread and they just melee you if you're in front of them, or they rending claws you, whatever it is. So just try to make sure you're behind them at all times, which should be easy enough as a rogue, especially if you don't have this troll trinket rooting you. Yeah, just follow them behind, do your rotation, keep them dotted, etc. Simple enough. Okay, wolves are dead. We do this really weird bull pull. Evasion does work on the stomp, so if you're like in your burst combo and you want to stay in, that's when you evasion. Or if you have the troll trinket that roots you, you could do that too. Just make sure you don't get hit here. Yeah, simple enough, but obviously the stomp can be super annoying. Try to dodge where the tank is. I'm actually kind of making a mistake here, but we have move speed, so it's fine. Basically, when you're doing a pull like this, which requires the tank to kite, it's way easier if there's no frontals, if you're with the tank. Like if I'm standing on his head, it's way easier. Like I won't get outranged like this. The mobs run to the tank and I'm on the tank, so they'll be running towards me. Okay, easy pull. Now onward to Skovald. So there's some tech here. We're getting a beer. I think the warrior got it. So this beer, you can use it on any mob and it will turn hostile to everyone, including its friends. But the main use case is up here, because it allows you to fight two of the mini bosses at the same time. We're going to fast forward. Notice how he has the beer, right? He's going to throw it. The best person to throw it at is this one, because this one has Sever. He'll do more damage than the others. King Heimdall. So he throws the beer and then he talks to this guy. Simple enough, right? As long as you never enter combat after you pick up the beer, and then you throw the beer first on Haldor, and then you talk to the second guy, and then you drag the second guy to Haldor, then this will work. This is a pretty simple, just kick, XD. Can be a little bit harder as the tank to play than the DPS, but yeah, this is really easy as a DPS. You just wait for them to spawn. In these pulls, it's usually better to focus the low one, because as soon as the low one is dead, your tank can pull the next one if you're using the beer tech. Okay, here you really want to focus the low one. Once this dies, you can spawn King Tor, and then it's 2 target cleave, so you just kill them at the same time for time. Okay, so we kill one, and then we spawn King Tor, and then we kill both at the same time here. Or close to the same time. Alright, on to Skovald. We just sit here waiting for RP. If you need a food buff, this is a good time. Really long RP. Skovald is actually really easy. It probably not gonna go over it for too long. If you cast Felbrae's Rush, you can vanish it. And when he casts Ragnarok, when he's about to cast Ragnarok, make sure your tank's paying attention. You can see the debuff here, the shield debuff. Make sure your tank has this like a bit in advance. If he doesn't have it, then just keep an eye out. When he does Ragnarok, obviously just stand behind the shield. I want to see if he targets me with the charge here. I don't remember. Okay, it's on. If it's on someone else, you just run out, right? Okay. One thing I noticed actually as a sub rogue specifically is that like right here, your dance comes up. You can hold your dance for a couple seconds here, like just pull, and then when the ad spawn, you'll do a much better dance because you'll be able to Shuriken Storm and get a bajillion combo points. Don't think I did it this time, but it is something you can keep in mind. Yeah, usually if you're playing for time, you're gonna want to eviscerate here. So yeah, I just vanished that one and keep eviscerating. If you want to pad overall, you can black powder here, but it's better to eviscerate for time. And this boss is pretty simple. Just yeah. Stand in the shield for Ragnarok, banish the Spellblaze rushes, run out if it's not on you, and don't stand in the green. Alright, simple boss. Okay. Wait. Oh yeah, there's a bug here. So if the boss is casting Ragnarok and you kill him, the last ticks will go off even if you put the shield up. So people are gonna get freaking owned here. Watch this. This is a bug. We kill him here with Ragnarok. Still casting. These are still in the air. He dies, the shield goes down, and bang. Half my team dies. Very cool. We use a B-res and we just res everyone. One thing you can do here, since this RP is omega long, if you have a Warlock in the group, you can Hearth and change talents. Obviously, this is not applicable, and you don't need to do it for like lower keys, but I felt it was very necessary for 22 Tyrannical Grievous. Okay, so I Hearth. Dalaran Hearth, by the way, 5-second cast instead of normal Hearth, 10-second. Very important. Okay. Ideally, you would have a rune page here preset, not have to like manually click every talent. But I forgot to do that beforehand. I didn't even think of this until just now. So yeah, you can change your talents here. Take a summon, and then take another summon. And bang, you're at the boss. Okay. This boss, the beginning is pretty simple. Also, there is like a damage amp phase later, so you're going to want to hold your cooldowns. Use the first 2 dances you can use, but hold after that. Don't use your trinket, don't use your pot. Don't use your Thistletease. For mobility here, as a sub, I like to, since I have Sprint and Belt. Belt is an enchant from Dalaran Engineering, Northern Engineering. You don't want to sprint this Radiant Tempest, you want to use Shadow Step, because you need to use Sprint for Runic Brand. So you're going to step to the mob, kick if your warrior doesn't kick. You don't have to kick. Like, whoever kicks, it doesn't matter. But you want to step this mob. Second dance comes here, you do use it here. You don't have to hold it too long. One thing I did do, hold on, let me go back a bit so I can show you my final talents. Sorry, bad sequencing. Okay. You'll notice this is not like an ideal single target build. I'm missing Burst Dance, and instead I choose to take this. This is a 30% shield when you use Vanish for Odin. This is something you can use in super high tyrannical keys that get super scary. Obviously it's not good for damage, but Odin is super scary, so I did it. Anyway, forward. So we kill the ad, we bring it in. Next is Shatter Spears and some Spear Spawns. You can feint this, you can cloak this. Don't use your cloak too early, because the early ones don't do damage. Okay, Shatter Spears, dodge into Runic Brand. I sprint the first one. You should get if you don't have this weak aura, by the way, it is insane. You should get this weak aura. It's called like Runic Brand, search Waggo. Run sprint here. Health pot, Healthstone, really good here if you need them, but try to conserve them also. And this is what my Vanish with Shield was here for too. Actually, let's go back so we can watch it again. Shatter Spears, and then he Runic Brands. This is Sprint. Notice how my HP bar is like ticking like crazy here. It's like 80k tick. But then I Vanish and like get a decent shield here, so I'll make it. Actually, if I didn't Vanish, this would have been really close to dying. Anyway, onward. This is the damage phase. You pop everything here. Try to use all your T's here. Trinkets, blah, blah, blah. Try not to have this Dathia trinket, but I have it, so whatever. Paint these when you see them. I think before you get the second runic brand, it's not too scary, so you don't want to use cloak yet. You just want to use feint. Okay, then the phase repeats. He has spawns and add. Use shadow step to get out. Then run in. Use second dance again. Oh, I didn't use second dance. Okay. You can see the belt here. This is runic brand. I still have vanish, health pot, and healthstone, so I choose to use the vanish here. You notice I use my belt. That's the move speed boost I have. It's pretty close, so I didn't have to use anything. That's really good. Then back to burst combo, just dump everything. I think I did a pretty poor job here of actually using all my T's during this phase. You should really try to use all your T's in this phase. For damage. Okay, we feint the spear drops. Then the phase repeats again. Notice as the fight progresses, each spear drop hurts more. So you wanna you're actually really on a clock when you're killing this guy. Also, he's currently at 81, so we know we're not playing another runic brand, so I can use my cloak and feint and just dump all my damage here that I still have left. I know I have runic brand. I think I used Healthstone and Health Pot and still died. This spot is insane. Anyway, you want him to die before third runic brand. Third runic brand is usually just death. But yeah, with some tricks, we were able to time it. This was a really hard key. I didn't play it perfectly, but I think I was able to show a few rogue tricks that most people don't know about. So that's why I'm making this video. That's going to be it for the commentary. Thanks everyone for watching, and I hope you all enjoy Dragonflight. Peace.